A nonsensical number generation machine just won $25,000 and a Kaggle Grand Prize stamp from Google DeepMind, and nobody stopped it. So here is the situation. Google DeepMind sponsored a Kaggle challenge called Measuring Progress Toward AGI Cognitive Abilities. The goal was to design new cognitive science-based AI benchmarks, and this week they just announced the results. The winner, a team that built what one Redditor is calling a nonsensical number generation machine, they got $25,000 and a grand prize stamp. And the question on everyone's mind is whether this was actually brilliant research or just blatant AI slop that got rewarded because nobody bothered to read it carefully. This is the story of how a pile of spaghetti won a prestigious competition. Let me give you some context on what this competition was actually trying to do. The challenge was called Measuring Progress Toward AGI Cognitive Abilities. It asked participants to design new cognitive science-based AI benchmarks. So the idea was that instead of just throwing more parameters at a problem, you would actually think about how to measure intelligence in a more meaningful way. The competition was sponsored by Google DeepMind and hosted on Kaggle. The submissions were evaluated by a jury rather than an objective metric, which, as one commenter pointed out, is where the trouble starts because jury evaluations tend to reward nice presentations over actual substance. Now here is what the winning team actually intended to do, which is genuinely interesting. They wanted to present an LLM with alternative viewpoints from other LLMs on 5 claims regarding a tricky situation, and then see whether the model changes its own assessment. So basically, they were testing whether language models are capable of updating their beliefs when presented with counterarguments from other models. That is a real cognitive science question. It is the kind of thing that could tell us something meaningful about how AI systems reason and whether they can be genuinely persuasive or if they just double down. But here is where things went off the rails. The submission turned into what one Redditor described as a vibed pile of spaghetti 10 times the size of the requested submission format. That is the original critique from the competition forum. The submission was so bloated and messy that apparently neither the authors nor the judges were able to give it even a cursory reading. So you had a submission that was 10 times bigger than it needed to be, and nobody read it carefully before declaring it the winner. That is not how rigorous evaluation should work. So what exactly is wrong with the winning submission? One Redditor who went through the write-up in their competition forum posts is calling out a litany of unfounded claims. They point out that the authors present what they call universal findings and core insights, but the evidence supporting them is shaky at best. The original critique dives into the write-up first and then goes deeper into the methodology, code, and data. The competitor is essentially doing AI research detective work and finding that the grand prize winner might not have earned it at all. The second part of the critique goes even deeper. The Redditor looked at the actual methodology the winning team used, examined their code, and reviewed their data. And what they found is that the technical foundation of the winning submission has serious problems. The methodology does not support the claims being made. The code has issues that undermine the results. The data analysis is not rigorous enough for a competition claiming to measure progress toward AGI. This is not a surface-level critique. This is someone who actually dug into the technical details and found the whole thing crumbling. The Kaggle community reaction is telling. One commenter who goes by Quantum Quokka says the golden era of Kaggle was probably from 2015 to 2018 and 1819. After that point, Kaggle became saturated with throwing massive ensembles of architectures without fully understanding them. Another commenter says jury-evaluated competitions are bullshit because they reward blatant lying and over-exaggeration and nice PowerPoint slides. One person even says they would not be surprised if the review was conducted by AI tools which thought the submission was brilliant. The bitter lesson here is that Kaggle used to be about optimizing to the 4th decimal place, and now it is about who can spin the best narrative. The organizer's stance has been that the review was done properly, and this is just a matter of subjectivity. The authors of the winning work have not retracted anything. They stand by their results and their claims. But the question remains whether a submission that is 10 times the requested size with a litany of unfounded claims truly deserved the grand prize when there were other teams who may have done more rigorous work, but perhaps did not have the same narrative skills. So where does this leave us? We have a Google DeepMind sponsored competition where the grand prize winner is being called a nonsensical number generation machine with unfounded claims. The submission was never properly reviewed. The community is deeply divided on whether Kaggle still represents rigorous evaluation or just a performance contest. This might be the canary in the coal mine for AI research more broadly. When the people judging AI work are not reading what is actually being submitted, what are we really measuring? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you want to dive into the technical critique yourself, the links to both original forum posts are in the description. Thanks for watching. If you want to dig into the technical critique yourself, the links to both original forum posts are in the description. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below.